I'm cutting all ties from that shit.
Really acknowledging myself that I have PTSD and with really being clinically diagnosed with PTSD.
Right.
And
Oh, listen to G Herbo. He a gangster. You know? Bro ain't rapping what he living.
Yo, listen. One of Chicago's biggest rappers just announced he's done with gang life. But here's where it gets crazy. The streets ain't letting him go that easy. Rumors started floating around that he might have had his own homie killed over some disrespect. We're talking about G Herbo and J-Dog, and the more you dig into this story, the more the pieces don't add up. So y'all, let's break down exactly what happened and why people think this situation went way too far.
Right. Value life. You don't lose the shit the night you fight. I be mugging in the club.
Now look, G Herbo came straight up from the trenches and turned himself into a millionaire. This man made it out. But in 2025, he made an announcement that shook everything up. He said he was done with gangbanging. He was cutting ties with the streets completely. His reason? Simple. He wanted to avoid a potential RICO case. But that decision, it lit a fuse that nobody saw coming.
I'm cutting all ties from that shit.
See, Herbo built his whole career repping NLMB. That's No Limit much better for y'all who don't know. And NLMB ain't no joke. They got a deadly reputation all across Chicago. Before Herbo got rich and famous, he was allegedly out there in the streets too. He was active. He was putting in work. But once the money came through and the tours started happening, he stepped back. He distanced himself from street life, and that right there caused tension with the people he came up with. Now, there's this NLMB member named J-Dog, and J-Dog was not happy about what Herbo was doing. One day, J-Dog went live on Instagram, and he called Herbo out straight up. He said Herbo abandoned the block. He said that since 2014, Herbo hasn't done anything for NLMB. But here's the thing, J-Dog was saying Herbo profits off the gang's name. He's making all this money, using NLMB's reputation to build his brand, and he ain't giving nothing back to the community. That's disrespect in the streets, y'all. And J-Dog didn't stop there. He literally banned Herbo from the block. Straight up told him he couldn't come around anymore. But Herbo, he wasn't gonna let that slide. He clapped back hard. He went on his own platform and said nobody ever touched him in the streets. He said he survived shootings. He survived fights. And then, here's where it gets wild, he posted old footage of him body slamming J-Dog. Like, physical footage of him dominating J-Dog. Then he mocked J-Dog for being all friendly in person, but talking all that trash online. But it didn't stop there. J-Dog kept coming back, and the social media beef escalated heavily. J-Dog posted videos showing the condition of the hood, like showing how bad things were, claiming Herbo was neglecting his people. The streets were watching this go down, and things were getting heated. But then something interesting happened. Another NLMB member named Big Op stepped in and defended Herbo. Big Op said Herbo was still good on the block, still solid. He vouched for him. Now Big Op ain't nobody to play with. This man is rumored to be a top shooter in NLMB. He's allegedly connected to some serious violence, including the killing of KTS Stray, and that's a whole story in itself. See, NLMB and KTS? They have been at war for years. This beef started way back in 2008 when NLMB killed a KTS member named Lil Pest. KTS came back hard with retaliation. They allegedly killed several NLMB members, including a man named Kobe. And this war continued, y'all. Multiple deaths on both sides. The body count just kept going up. Then in 2021, something crazy happened. KTS Stray got released from jail, and right when he left the facility, somebody hit him with 64 bullets. 64. That's not just a shooting, that's a statement. That's disrespectful. And the streets were saying Big Op had something to do with it. But here's the shocking part. In 2025, Big Op allegedly confirmed his involvement by wearing a chain with Stray's tattoo symbol on it. That's confirmation right there, broadcasted for everybody to see. So fast forward. Not long after all this beef with J-Dog, after all the social media arguing and the back and forth disrespect, J-Dog got shot 6 times in his own hood, his own neighborhood. And this is where the rumors really start flying. NLMB members confirmed it was a backdoor hit. That means somebody from inside turned on him. His own family said his own homies killed him. But here's what people started wondering. Did Herbo have something to do with it? Was this retaliation for the disrespect? Some people in the streets started saying, yeah, Herbo put money on J-Dog's head. Others said it was different. They said it was about a fight between J-Dog and Big Op that just escalated. They said it was gang business, not about Herbo at all. But y'all need to understand who J-Dog was before we go further. This man had been through it. He spent nearly a decade in prison. In 2016, his own father got killed, and J-Dog was looking for revenge. He took that pain and he channeled it into violence. He killed a young man named Alexander Townsend, and this kid was reportedly innocent. J-Dog got arrested, served 9 years in prison, and came home. But here's the tragedy. He didn't make it even a year after his release. Less than a year. That's how quick it ended. Now, after J-Dog died, other people in NLMB started speaking up. No Limit Cairo, another member from the crew, showed love to J-Dog. Cairo said J-Dog helped him when he had his own legal case. J-Dog wrote a letter to the judge for him. That's real loyalty. That's what the streets value. But Cairo was also one of the first people to publicly criticize Herbo. Back in 2022, Cairo went to Herbo hard. He said Herbo was fake, said he didn't support his own people.
Oh, listen to G Herbo. He a gangster. You know? Bro, bro ain't rapping what he living. Or he ain't no goofy though, like, he not no, I won't say he no lame, let a nigga whoop him, or he won't clap a motherfucker if they play with him. Like, he ain't, he ain't never did that shit. He'll whoop a motherfucker like, bro, for my shit.
Cairo claimed Herbo promised to sign NLMB rappers to his label, but never came through. That's a different kind of betrayal, y'all. But Herbo responded through his music. He basically said it's his money. He'll do what he wants with it. That was his answer. But here's where the analysts and the street watchers started putting pieces together. Herbo ignored Cairo's criticism, ignored it completely. But when J-Dog came at him, Herbo went hard. He responded with intensity. He posted videos. He called J-Dog out by name. And that attention, that spotlight Herbo put on J-Dog, it fueled all the rumors. Some people in the chat have been saying if Herbo just stayed quiet, if he just let that criticism roll off his back like he did with Cairo, maybe nobody would have suspected him of anything. Maybe J-Dog would still be alive. That's how people have been thinking about it. Now look, let me be clear about something. There is no evidence connecting Herbo to J-Dog's murder. No police charges, no confession, nothing. Some people think it was internal gang beef. Some think it was a personal fight between J-Dog and Big Op that just spiraled out of control. And here's something important. J-Dog's own friend got shot during that same incident. That's telling you something right there. Most of the details around this situation, they remain unconfirmed. The streets have theories, but facts are facts.
Run up on a nigga with the llamas flying, leave his loved ones all traumatized. 150, I'm really with it. I drop his ass and then forget it. On a man round my side of town, might see a bitch and forget I hit it.
There's also this connection to Lil Bibby that people have been bringing up. Bibby and Herbo came up together. They put out Kill Shit back in 2014, and that's what put them on the map. Bibby went on to build a successful label. He signed Juice WRLD. He made moves. But here's something interesting. J-Dog was allegedly closer to Bibby than he was to Herbo. So why was he coming to Herbo so hard? Why wasn't he directing this energy at Bibby the same way? That's a question people have been asking.
Really acknowledging myself that I have PTSD and with really being clinically diagnosed with PTSD and trying to spread awareness on the fact that people don't really realize that they have PTSD. So it was real important for me, like, shed light on that because it affects my life on a day-to-day basis and so many.
And another thing y'all should know, Herbo ain't just been sitting around doing nothing for the community. In 2020, he launched a mental health initiative right there in Chicago for kids dealing with PTSD. He's been open about witnessing multiple murders growing up. He talked about the trauma. He's tried to use his platform to help young people process that pain. But J-Dog? He wanted Herbo to do more. He wanted him to fix the hood. That's impossible. You can't fix generations of poverty and violence with a bag of money. And that tension right there, that impossible expectation, it created conflict. So at the end of the day, J-Dog's death remains surrounded by rumors, surrounded by theories. But there's no proof that Herbo ordered the hit. The tragedy reflects something bigger though. It reflects the ongoing tension between leaving the streets and staying loyal to the block. It shows what happens when a man tries to rise up and leave gang life behind. The people he left behind, they see it as betrayal. They see it as a weakness. And sometimes that resentment can lead to violence. That's the real story here, y'all. Not necessarily about Herbo having J-Dog killed, but about what happens when you try to escape a life that doesn't want to let you go.